Hey, you guys. So I'm going to be doing about a half-hour video. If you want to come along with me for a walk in the woods. I do this job every year for about 6 years now, and we're creating trails and a park-like environment in a very busy forest. And I wanted to show it off to you. So I got one of the machines loaded up to go home. We spent 5 days here, and I want to show it off. So what this forest looked like when we first started was kind of like this. This is across the road. There's trees down, leaning trees everywhere. You almost can't walk through it. It's completely occluded. Here's their driveway and their cute little houses back there. But I'm gonna walk you down here. We've done a little bit of work along this edge of the road, and you can see the difference between this overgrown stuff on this side versus this side. You can see that the trees have been raised up 10 feet or so, and it makes sense. When you look in there, you can kind of see deeper into the forest because we've thinned out a lot of the dead stuff. This side hasn't been manicured yet, so there's still more work to do. But right down here is a little road that was a right-of-way, and it was very overgrown, so we opened it up and we use it to drive the truck in and out. This area was completely overgrown with downed wood, and we've been opening up the canopy slightly. So you can get a feel for how the chip trail is working out. As we've been working, we've been finding a lot of debris. These are old car parts, not bed springs, seat springs, a lot of glass jars and bottles. So someday we're gonna find the time to come here and clean up this mess for them. I don't know what that one is. But we have some work to do, clean this mess up. Anyway, let's go for a walk. I'm going to walk you down the trail for the work that we did this time. So this little road comes down their driveway and is a loop back out to the street. And then this is the start of the main trail heading back. And if you look at one of our older videos, this trail going this way, there was a huge amount of down debris out here. And last year we created a path that goes out here and winds its way down to an old car body. And then there's more debris in here. So there's old fenders and hoods, and so we're going to pick that stuff up sometime in the future. But what this is, we call this the nursery, because we were able to find and take care of these little trees like this guy. And we wanted to save these spruces and firs that are out here. So for instance, on this tree, prior to us being out here, this was how much it was growing a year between this guy and this guy. So it wasn't growing very much. This was a good year. This was a good year. Then there was some bad years. But this year, it's grown that much. And it's beautiful and firm and juicy and plump. And the tree's doing really well. And all the little trees in this area, so that guy, all through in here. We call this the nursery because we're promoting all these little firs and spruce trees. This whole forest area once was all spruce and fir. And then the deciduous trees, the oaks, the maples, the birches, the beeches outgrew them and shaded them. They don't like shade that much, so then they all died. But we have enough seed material in the ground that we're starting to create more of these beautiful conifers again. There's a beauty right there, and then a little trio in here. And so what I've done is I've opened up some holes in the canopy here, over there, that allows some more sunlight to filter in to get these trees off to a really good start. And over time, we're going to pull out another stem here and another stem there, another stem there. As these trees pass away or get damaged, and we'll add more light, and eventually we'll turn this over into a spruce forest. So that's just a little detour. So the main trail that we were walking down, we went in right up there and walked up there. This is the chip trail that we've been working on. And so this is the main junction. So this trail goes off that way, goes around and comes back. So I'm going to take you in a clockwise direction. These guys here are stumps that I cut, and I'm going to make tables out of them. I can't wait. I didn't have time this time to take them, but we will. Those will finish up really nice and make little end tables out of those. We'll shine them up and varnish them. So let's take a walk. Now this forest, when we got here, was literally Armageddon. There were trees falling in every direction. There were trees on the floor, littering the forest floor. And now it makes sense. You can see through it. The canopy is still present. So we didn't change it and turn it into a field, but we took all the dead, unhealthy, fallen over trees out and chipped them through the chipper and made a trail with the chips. So for instance, this little beech tree here, when you look up, it comes out over the trail. So the branches come all the way out to here, and that tree will thrive in this location now, creating some shade for the trail. And we leave an uneven aged stand of trees. So like there's a baby beech here, and now that there's some sunlight coming through these holes, this tree will do really well. Their house, this is the backyard. In the past, you could not see the house from here, and you could not walk from here to the house because there were so many downed trees and so much debris in the forest that it was impassable. So now we've eased the edge from the lawn coming down in. And next time we're here, we're going to work on creating a walking path that comes right down from the lawn, right down through in here. So what's majestic about this place is some of these pine trees are just gargantuan. They're really majestic. And having some of the trees cut around them so we can see them is really special. The customers absolutely love that, as do I. So what we did is we built a little retaining wall out of fallen logs here, and then we chipped up and right up to it to fill it in to make the trail nice. And we try to take the trees that were down, leave the moss on as much as we can, with little trees growing out of them, and use that to line the trail to give it a sense of border. Outside of the trail, we haven't really had a chance to work, so it's still complete Armageddon out there. You can't walk through it. There's fallen trees everywhere. A lot of dead trees. So these spruces, the tops look like that when they're dead. And they kind of just rot standing up. So we'll eventually, when we need more chips, we'll branch out, as it were, into this section. And all of this debris we can use to create chips. I'll turn around and show you where we've been walking from, so you get a feel. We walked all the way around there, and the T junction is way back over there. So we're gonna keep walking. We have a plan for this area. This is kind of a little shelf plateau here. That kind of is the top of the hill. After this section, it kind of drops way down. You can kind of tell there, it drops way down. So in this area here, we're eventually going to rake this and clean this and make it really nice and put a sitting bench here. And then we're going to clean up this debris that's in front of these two pines, clean all that up so that there's a vista to look out into. And this will be like a meditation spot. We might put the bench like right here. So I'll go over here. And then you would sit here and see the trail, a cleaned up area, and then off the edge. And then there's some views down there. And I guess there's a river down at the bottom of this. So they love it out here. The deer and the bear come through here pretty often. And we try to leave cool things like this tree that split in half. We'll leave that for a couple years while it decomposes. We tried not to take everything out. We're trying to leave as much of the small spruce stuff. So like these guys here. So if you look up, you can see there's not much live on them. There's a little bit at the top. But now that more sunlight is getting in, these trees will respond and grow a little better. The goal is for them to produce some little spruce cones, not pine cones, but spruce cones, and drop them on the ground and begin reseeding this area. So this is kind of the end of where we chipped. This is the fresh chips here. You can see the difference between the fresh chips and a trail that was made a couple years ago. And might as well while I'm here, one of the next projects, maybe next year, we'll find out, is, I don't know if you can see, but we made this nice retaining wall here for the chips. And it kind of looks like there's the start of a perfect trail right in through here. Looks like it wants to roll up. And so if we go up through there and go up through the forest in here, we can thin all this out to make it look more like this. So you see how the trees are spaced here? Canopy is still intact. But if you look over here, you can see that it's not spaced and there's just all this dead stuff. And the canopy is pretty thick in there. So we would go through and tidy this up to make it look more like this. And we would then do a trail that starts here, walks up around and goes down to where I mentioned there was an old car. It's like a Model A or a Model T out there in the woods. But we would kind of go up this hill and end up at the back of that other trail to create another loop. And so we're giving them interesting walking trails. These customers love walking out here in all seasons. They send me photographs of the light filtering in the fall versus the winter, versus the spring, versus the summer. And they come out and just contemplate the forest and just sit out here, really enjoy it. So it makes it really fun to work for them. And I'm starting to teach them how to steward the upcoming spruce growth. I'll show you what I mean by that. We're walking back towards the street now. So one of the first things I did when I came here years ago is that this area by the house, there were a whole bunch of spruce trees that had come up, and phototrophically they were bent out towards the house, and they were causing moss to grow on the roof, and it was damaging the siding. So we cut that back, and now we're starting to get some new growth here. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna look at the ground here, show you what's happening. So these are all maple trees. And there's thousands and thousands and thousands of them. And we really don't want maple trees to grow here because we have, and I started teaching the customer to flag these little spruce saplings that are coming up, and fir saplings that are coming up in all these little places. There's a beautiful one. Oh, there's a really nice one right here too. So that's a gorgeous little guy. There's another one right behind it right there. But this one over here is super cool. See this guy here? So they're starting out with a great branch structure and a nice leader. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have her flag these so that when I come back next time, I can weed whack the areas in between and stay away from where the flags are. That way we don't kill our regenerated growth. So here's another little nursery of tiny little fir and spruce trees. Look at the growth on that one this year. So the length of this leader is the growth this year. So that one did really well. 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 And look at this one. This one grew at least 6 inches. This one did like 4. And so this is like a little baby nursery here of tiny little spruce trees that we want to protect. And then I'll come in with the weed whacker and get rid of all these maple trees before they get so big that they get woody, and then we have to cut them by hand. And as the spruces grow up, the shade from the spruces will keep the other undergrowth from coming up, and we'll start stewarding a fresh crop of spruce trees for this beautiful property. And so we just walked through a lot of area where there's a lot of birch and maple and beech, but there's a lot of small spruce trees in there, conifers in there. But this is what this property really wants to be. I'm going to walk you right into the heart of a conifer stand. We've done a little bit of work in here, not very much, just enough to make it, just enough to start. So here's a gorgeous little spruce guy. And because we've been opening it up in here, it's just starting to respond by growing vertically in here. See how nice and green that is? Soft and green that is. So next year I expect this guy to start moving up. but it's doing super well. So you can see the branch structure of that in layers. But now in here, this is all conifers. It's a mixture of spruce and fir. And this is what we're going to be creating in those other areas where it's wide open now. And you can see it's just layer after layer of these gorgeous needles everywhere. Everywhere you look, they're all different ages from these little baby guys. They top out about here. And then right next door, this one's like 15 feet tall. And so as I work in here, next year, the plan is to come in and you see the maple canopies up there. We'll pull out selectively like 3 or 4 of those maple trees, letting a little more sun filter in, which will help the tops of these. So like this guy did pretty well this year. See him right there? That's nice and juicy and, you know, feeling really good. Oh, I lost my focus there. Try again. Come on, buddy, you can do it. Focus for me. Focus, focus. Oh, there we go. Oh, lost it. Anyway, there. So that's nice and juicy and fat and happy. And so if we pull a couple of those upper canopy maples out, we'll get a little more sunlight and just keep contributing to that growth. Even down here, this one did really well. So let's see, where is that one? Right here. So that's the leader right there. This piece right here. That's a good amount of growth for being way tucked way down underneath these other conifers. And so you can see, like this tree, I've gone through and I've taken all the dead wood off here. And this is where I stopped. So this is the dead wood that exists on one that hasn't been pruned. And so like this one's been taken care of. That one hasn't been done. So the ones in here haven't been worked on yet. But what this does is taking the dead wood off of a tree like this doesn't matter much in all by itself, but when you add this one and that one and that one and that one and that one, and then you remove the dead wood, you end up with this situation where more light can filter in because there's less dead wood to stop the light flowing in. So we'll get to this next year or the year after. Like I said, we've been here 6 years and just touching it. So this guy here probably won't make it another year. It's got about 3 whorls of branches that are alive on top. And the rest of it is all dead wood. So eventually they just give up. This one's got about 3 branches on the top too. So as we thin this out, it'll get more light in for the ones that will make it. So for those of you who have made it this far in a video, it's what I do for work, is I play in the forest. I try to breathe new life into a forest. A lot of times people don't know what to do to make a healthy forest. I try to keep all the material on site, so we chip everything and then return the chips back to the land where it feeds the forest more, feeds the bugs, the worms, the mycelium mushroom network, and Renaissance is the name of the company. And in French, that means rebirth. So thanks for hanging out with me. I'm gonna hop in the truck and haul this jewel back home. Make sure I've got everything hooked up properly and that my straps are tight. Looking good. All right. So that's why I called it Renaissance Acres, is because the way I see tree work is that we protect and we preserve trees. So I put it on the front of the truck just like the cops have, to protect and serve, to protect and preserve. And then Renaissance means birth, rebirth. So since I've been on this property, we have breathed new life into it. And you can tell this section's been worked. You can tell all the dead wood is off the base of these trees, and the canopies are just going crazy because we've opened up a little sunlight. Next year I'd like to be on this side again and pull out some of the poplar trees that are up in there and get a little more light in there for the spruces. And there will be things like this beech right here is not doing well. You can see all the dead limbs at the top of that beech, so that's going to fail at some point. I like to leave some dead snags, but I also like to make sure that there's plenty of sunlight getting in. So, yeah. Five days of my life having fun, not being on the internet, and remembering what's important. So, connect to those around you, connect to those you love. See you later, bye.